Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. So yesterday we started with chapter 15. We studied about transportation. Okay, we studied about root pressure, transpiration, pull and translocation. Now today we are going to study about the topic excretion. What is meant by excretion? Excretion is the removal of waste materials from the body. The removal of waste materials from the body is called as excretion. In our body there are different waste materials, nitrogenous waste materials, especially urea, uric acid and ammonia, which are produced, which have to be removed out of the body. Not only in case of animals, in plants also there are some waste materials which has to be removed from the plant body. So this process which is carried out, that is called as excretion. In case of unicellular animals, the excretion is the waste materials are directly eliminated out by diffusion, whereas in case of multicellular animals, excretion is a complex process. So removal of waste materials, if they get accumulated in the body, whether it is a plant body or an animal body, it is harmful to the living organism. So it has to be removed out of the body. That process is called as excretion. Now page number 166, excretion in plants. Why does this happen? Leaves of plants fall off in a particular season. Now some waste substances are stored in the leaves, okay, where in the leaves photosynthesis is carried out. Besides that, due to the reactions which are taking place, there are some waste substances which are stored in the leaves. Those leaves are shed off in particular seasons and the waste materials is removed from the plant body. Next is fruits, flowers fall off after a certain period of time. So after a certain period of time, the fruits and flowers, they to remove waste materials, and due to aging, okay, due to the age of the flowers and fruits increases, due to which the supply of food to those regions has to be stopped, so it is shed off from the plant body. Substances like resin, gum, etc. are given out of the plant body. So these are the waste products of the plants which are given out of the plant body. So this is about excretion in plants. So the excretory products of plants are useful to us also. If you are having a question on excretion in plants, you have to write that complete paragraph. Excretion is a simpler process in plants than in animals. There is no special organ or system for excretion in plants. Gaseous substances are given out by diffusion. Most of the waste substances of plants are stored in the vacuoles of leaf cells and in flowers, fruits and bark of the stem. After some time, these parts fall off. Some other waste materials are stored in old and worn out xylem in the form of resin and gum. Some waste materials are also given out through roots into the surrounding soil. This much you have to write if you are having a question on excretion in plants. Besides this, there is a point below that also you have to write. Observe your mother while she cuts elephant's foot or arum leaves. That is aru, you might have eaten, okay, about aru or arvi. Your hands may also begin to itch if you try to cut those leaves. Why does this happen? Okay, now why does this happen? The answer is given below. In some plants, waste materials are present in the form of calcium oxalate crystals. Okay, so some crystals like calcium oxalate are present in those leaves, due to which they are needle shaped actually, and when we cut them, then those needles prick on the surface of the skin, due to which we feel itchy. Okay, so in some plants, waste materials are present in the form of crystals of calcium oxalate. They are called as raphides. You may underline, very important objective question. As they are needle shaped, they prickle and cause irritation to the skin. Some waste materials of plants are useful to humans, for example, gum, resin, latex of rubber, etc. So to the answer of that paragraph, first paragraph, you have to add the calcium oxalate point also for excretion in plants. Now we may move on to excretion in human beings. There are two questions. Can you tell questions? Which waste materials are produced in our body through metabolic activities? In each and every cell, we know that carbon dioxide and water is produced, which are removed by the lungs. So lungs help in excretion of CO2 and H2O. Next, lactic acid, skin helps in removal of urea in the form of sweat. It helps in removal of some salts which are not needed for the body. And kidney helps in removal of urea, that is the main nitrogenous waste material which is formed in the body. How does the process of excretion take place in humans? It is with the help of excretory system which we have. Okay. Now we will study excretory system, the parts of excretory system in human beings. Basically, excretory system consists of two kidneys, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. Okay, while you draw the diagram, minimum these four labelings is compulsory: kidney, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. These are the excretory organs. Now the renal artery, you may see the renal artery is the artery which enters the kidney, and renal vein is the vein which goes out of the kidney. Renal artery brings the oxygenated blood from the heart, and renal vein takes the deoxygenated blood from the kidney to the heart. Now kidney is not a purifying organ. Okay, the renal artery provides the kidney with oxygenated blood. Now hepatic vein is a vein which brings the urea which is formed in the liver. Okay, liver produces urea, or liver converts the nitrogenous waste materials into urea, and from the liver it is brought into the kidney. Okay, it is brought into the kidney. In the kidney, what happens? In the kidney there is a functional unit which is called as nephron. Okay, which is called as nephron. You may see NEPHRON, nephron. It is the functional unit of a kidney. This is the structure of a nephron. It consists of a cup-shaped structure which is called as Bowman's capsule. It consists of a cup-shaped structure which is called as Bowman's capsule. The blood vessel which is containing, the blood vessel which is containing the blood which contains urea, it enters into the Bowman's capsule, forms a network and comes out. Okay, it does not enter into. Okay, so it is a cup-like structure, and in this cup-like structure there is a network which is formed. Okay, there is only a network, there is no penetration, they are only present near to each other. Okay, so this blood vessel, it enters into the cup-shaped region of the Bowman's capsule. It forms a network. That network, it is called as glomerulus. Okay, it is called as glomerulus. Understood? Now the blood which is containing urea and other substances in it, it enters into the glomerulus. As it is a network, when it passes through the glomerulus, some amount of fluid along with urea and the nutrients or some other waste substances, it oozes into the Bowman's capsule. That means from here it enters into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, it does not contain red blood cells. So red blood cells, white blood cells, they generally do not enter into the Bowman's capsule. Only the fluid part which contain urea and other some salts and some nutrients, it enters into the Bowman's capsule, which contain water also. It enters into the Bowman's capsule. From the Bowman's capsule, it passes through this tubule which is called as proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, these are the three parts of a nephron. Four parts basically: Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle and distal convoluted tubule. And this is the collecting vessel. This is the collecting vessel. Okay, so the collecting vessel collects the urine. Now we have understood the blood enters from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule, but when it comes into Bowman's capsule, it is not blood, it is a fluid which is colorless or little bit yellowish in color with the waste products and some nutrients. When it passes through the proximal convoluted tubule, then it will pass through loop of Henle. From loop of Henle, it will enter the distal convoluted tubule. From the distal convoluted tubule, it will enter the collecting vessel, and collecting vessel is connected to the ureter. Okay, the ureter comes out of the kidney. Okay, it comes out through the ureter. From ureter, it gets connected in the urinary bladder, and it is given out through urethra at particular intervals. Okay, so in the kidney, urine is formed. It is getting collected, passed through the ureter. It is getting collected in urinary bladder. When the urinary bladder is filled, we get a feeling of urination, and it is passed out through the urethra. Okay. Now, when the blood is passing, why it has to go through this much distance? Because these tubules are surrounded by blood vessels. Okay, they are surrounded by blood vessels. When the fluid from the glomerulus is oozed into the Bowman's capsule, there are some useful substances also which are being oozed into the Bowman's capsule. They are reabsorbed by these vessels. That is the purpose of this length. Okay, so in a kidney there are about 1 million of nephron. In one kidney there are about 1 million nephron. So when it passes through the nephron, the useful materials and some amount of water is reabsorbed. The remaining get collected in the collecting vessel, and it is given out through the urethra. This is the function which have been given in the textbook. Okay, so in the textbook they have given about the structure of nephron and the formation of urine. So kidney are bean shaped organ which is present towards the posterior side, which is placed towards the posterior side of our body in the abdomen. Okay, right kidney, left kidney. Right kidney is placed a little higher position compared to that of left kidney. So there are millions of nephron in it, and it helps in production of urine. Now you may see the renal artery. This is not given in the textbook. Renal artery is the artery which enters the kidney, which comes to the kidney, which provides the kidney with oxygenated blood, and renal vein takes the deoxygenated blood to the heart from the kidney. Now, inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava is the vein. The renal vein enters into the inferior vena cava and goes to heart. This is the abdominal aorta which is coming, I haven't marked it, which is coming and enters into the kidney as renal artery. These pyramid-like structures are called as renal pyramids, where the nephrons are generally placed. Okay. Now the nephrons open, they all open into a particular region. You may see this region, this region. This region is called as renal pelvis. That renal pelvis, okay, it is renal calyx. This region is called as renal calyx, and renal calyx opens into a funnel shaped structure which is called as renal pelvis. So renal pyramid, renal calyx, renal pyramid which opens into the ureter. Okay, the outer part is called as cortex and the inner part is called as medulla. Okay, the outer part of the kidney. This is not there in your syllabus. It has not been given. In your textbook they have given only the structure and functioning of nephron, which is a 5-mark question. This could be asked as a 2-mark question. The diagram of excretory system and the structure and function of nephron. The diagram of nephron also on page number 167. It is a 2-mark question. Now the last paragraph on page number 167. The right kidney is at a slightly lower position. Okay, sorry, I told you the other way around previously. The right kidney is in a slighter lower position than the left. Each kidney has approximately 10 lakh nephrons. The approximately 5 liter of blood which is present in a normal healthy person's body is filtered by the kidneys about 400 times every day. Thus every day kidneys filter about 190 liters of blood, from which about 1 to 1.9 liters of urine is formed. The remaining liquid is reabsorbed. Now, if the kidney does not function, the nitrogenous waste materials get accumulated in our body and it could be lethal. That means it could lead to death. Now, there is a process which is used to purify the blood in that case if there is a failure in kidney. That process is called as dialysis or hemodialysis. We may see page number 168. The efficiency of kidneys can be adversely affected by injury, infection or decreased blood supply. It is a very important point which has to be written if you are having a question on dialysis. In case this happens, an excess of toxic substances accumulate in the body and it can lead to death. If kidneys fail, nitrogenous wastes are separated from the blood with the help of a man-made machine. The process of separating the nitrogenous waste from blood with the help of this machine is called dialysis. About 500 ml of blood is sent at one time through this machine. You may see the diagram. From the person's body, the blood is passed into the dialysis machine. Okay, you may see into the dialysis machine. In the dialysis machine, there is a particular solution. By the concentration difference, the waste materials are absorbed by the solution in the dialysis machine and the remaining blood is pumped back into the patient's body. Now, use your brain power question. As compared to monsoons and winter, a very small quantity of urine is produced in the summer season. Why is it so? Actually, during summer, we lose a large amount of water in the form of sweat. So, to maintain the water concentration and to maintain the concentration of salts, there is less formation of urine. Less amount of urine is formed during summer season. This is a very important question. In adults, the process of urination is under their control, but not in infants. Why is this so? Because we are having a muscle here which is called as sphincter muscle, which is a voluntary muscle, okay, which we can control. But in case of infants, they don't know about that voluntary muscles and they haven't practiced it, okay. So there is no voluntary control in case of infants. So the process of urination is not under their control. Okay, so this is about excretion in plants and excretion in human beings. Go through the textbook. If you are having any doubt, you may ask. Thank you.